we are.
Welcome.
Oh,
So good to be here. Why?
welcome, Stark.
Stark.
Good job on capturing the Lannister.
Drop the Lannister. There were many men sacrificed, but the prize is so valuable. We had to bring one of the most valued pieces of the Lannister prizes back to the Northland. Shiny 9. Lanniston, hear me roar.
Hey,
Candlelight.
good evening.
And welcome to the Wee Dram.
Special night.
This evening, Jonathan, we're enjoying the Lagavulin 9.
I know, right off the get-go, I was thinking that
You sound
it's
like
a gimmick.
You sound like a pirate.
Isn't that kind of Stark-esque? No? It's an it's too
Yeah.
much hurry.
Are you a Northman? Or are you a pirate?
I wasn't going for the pirate, but I see what you mean.
Yes.
They
Who-
kind of had a darker accent, though, no?
Yeah?
I guess maybe
Who?
that's way off.
The Starks?
Yeah, well, all the northern guys.
Yes.
The guys that supported Rob when he went out on his
The Car Starks.
conquest.
The
of the
big
kingdom.
wolves.
Yeah.
Yes. They had a different little way of speaking for sure.
So that's all I'm going for. Anyway.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, works
So
for
now
me.
we're gonna nose this guy,
And
and
this guy is the Lagavulin 9. And what are you getting off the nose immediately, Jonathan?
I'm getting a nice kelpie sea nose.
Smoke?
Yep,
Early smoke
definitely smoke.
detection? Smoke alarm is functioning.
Oh yeah, a lot of smoke.
Yeah, smoky. A Lagavulin smoke. Southeastern Isla smoke.
It may very well smell like Lagavulin 16.
I thought, that's what I thought too. I was surprised how much it reminded me of 16 on the initial nosing. Now that disappeared a little for me the longer I got into it, but right off the bat I was like pretty excited.
Yeah.
It got me excited.
Why wouldn't it? And a note on the color. Looking at it, it's a lot darker than the 8.
Yes.
So 1 year. I guess it's obviously a different process, but
1 year
that's
or colorant.
right.
Yeah.
With the 8 was not colored, was it?
I don't know. It
I
certainly
don't-
didn't
I mean, what
look
are they
it.
going to color it with?
Yeah. I mean, why leave it like that
Yeah.
if you're going to color it at all? Is kind of what you have to ask.
All right. Well,
Already?
I want to smell it again later. Sometimes I pick up more things as we go along, but I wanted to really taste it.
Time to taste?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
The first taste is always I gotta get less excited about the first taste because the first taste of any Scotch is always really good.
Oh. Wow.
But that does taste really good.
Really good.
There's so much going on there, and it's so big, and peppery, and smoky, and peaty, and it finishes well. It's really good.
Really good.
I didn't think it would be that good.
Yeah.
I thought,
No, it's that good.
wow. I think you kind of wonder, like, we had had to come back to the 8, but it was pretty good after we had tasted it, almost a year later.
Yeah.
But my initial feeling is like, this one's better than that.
I
It
think
actually
so.
is.
I think
which
so.
is a bummer because we're not going to be real. Are you going to buy this again? They're probably not going to put it out, right?
Right.
This is probably the last time you'll ever. It was just a fluke.
Yeah. One
They
time.
just pulled out a couple of casks and
yeah.
put them up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other way to look at it is it could be so popular that it will be backed by demand, It's possible. It's good. It's really good.
Do you think they'd brand it under a different name?
I mean, it could easily just be the Lagavulin 9.
Well, yeah.
The
but
Lagavulin 8 did quite well.
yeah.
At this point, they can't miss because they're just good.
A 9's pretty close, though.
To
Do you
the
want to put it
16?
on an 8? No, 8 and a 9.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is it
no,
worth
yeah,
the
you're
investment?
splitting differences.
I guess
Yeah,
it
at
could
that
be
point,
like
you
an
might as well
NAS.
stretch it out to the 10,
Right.
Just give her an 8 and a
Well,
10.
either that or just try something
Or
completely
12.
different.
8, 10, 12, 16.
Hey, but at least they put the number on there. I
Yes.
guess that's a big plus.
Yes. Huge. Everybody likes that. Everybody likes to know exactly how many years it was matured, or at least the minimum amount of years that a particular cask was matured, and bottled from that cask or
Why is that
combination.
comforting though? Why do we like that?
I think it nods to the. I guess. I mean, why do I like it? I like to know
Because you can
specifics.
and you can see there's a specific amount of time
Yeah.
of effort that went into it. At least they were looking after it for that. Because if we know you can go down to 3,
Yeah.
maybe
At 3,
know-
you're gonna taste it and see where you're at.
yeah.
At 6,
And it could be then you just start messing around with it, putting in different casks, or we're trying to take the flavor in a different direction.
bring it along.
Maybe. I don't
Get
know.
creative with your stock. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Especially the more years that there are, 12, 15, 18, and higher, you definitely would imagine that the maturation and coming together, mellowing, changing, influencing would somehow have an aggregate result of quality. I guess if it could be just a big ploy though that you have going on in your head and you believe, because that's what the Scotch whiskey market has always tried to do in the past. When we were young, it was all about 18-year-olds or that kind of thing was very important. Now it's less important, but yet it still matters,
It still matters, but it probably matters less because there's so few that seem to be doing it.
Yeah, and also the fact that there are NAS whiskeys that are very good, that may, have some young whiskey in there and still prove to be a really exceptional expression.
Oh, yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree with that for
Yeah.
sure. That makes complete sense. Well, I mean, we actually have some examples up there you could even pull from and say, here's a good one.
Yeah, there's no number on you,
Yeah.
but you rock.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm. So what do you like? Do you want to get into the whole? Did they name them right? Like I'd be
Oh.
interested because this is the only one we tasted. So this one is so good, but it has a lot to do with the fact that it's probably just Lagavulin. Yet at the same time, I wonder how the other ones taste, because we had talked about really be interested in trying the Talisker and the Dalwhinnie.
I think right away when I read the box and the bottle, cylinder, and started checking it all out, and it was, the fire and this and that and the smoke and then when I actually tasted it, I still think that this is Targaryen. Without trying the Cardew or trying others, I think they kind of gave the Lannister whiskey, or they gave the Targaryen whiskey to the Lannisters, and I think that was a bit of a mess up. I think that if you look at the geography of Westeros and the Seven Kingdoms and you compare it to Scotland, you can see a western sort of similarity between Casterly Rock and Isla, and maybe that's why they went in the direction they did. But I don't know. I mean, when you really look at sort of the different houses and you look at the different whiskeys, there's sort of 4 that we get a little bit excited about. The Talisker, of course, we do. This Lagavulin is certainly an exciting one. The Auburn and the Dalwhinnie. And then you look at the other ones. I think you have the, I don't know, not Royal Nargrar or something.
The Glenleash.
Yeah, Glenleash.
Royal Lochnagar.
Royal Lochnagar.
There's the Talisker, the Auburn, Lagavulin 9, Cardew,
Cardew.
and the Singleton.
The Singleton you don't get excited about.
No.
And the Cardew
Sorry.
you don't really get excited about. So it leaves a little bit to, the imagination with what they could have done, given what a cool thing they had to work with.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
maybe they did okay. Maybe.
Yeah. Oh,
you know,
certainly. I mean, it certainly sold well. People certainly got excited about it.
I was still like, we were talking about before, just like at least Lagavulin had one of the families that's important to the story. Like,
True.
Like it's a big power player. You know?
Yes, absolutely.
And you could argue that even in the story, it's one of the biggest. Well, it is. At
Pretty
least it
much.
was for the first couple.
But it's still
Couple of seasons.
going into season 8. The crown still lies with the Lannisters.
Yeah, but it seems like their time has come. I'm sure,
Yeah.
They're gonna get their due.
Sure. I mean, and Jamie is riding off to join the forces of the living.
Yeah, and he's not like he used to be.
Right. Right. He's missing a hand.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm.
Delicious whiskey.
There's so much in each mouthful.
Mm-hmm.
It's so big and punchy. You know, if we are going to transition, because I always pull that one out, but like I've only got one thought in mind right now.
What is?
And I think it's really fair for comparison scotch.
Okay.
All right, should we transition there or not?
I'm ready.
All right.
Are you checking your notes?
I was just checking the notes on the bottles. We kind of went
Okay.
over that. That's cool. The only other note that I had on here was the White Walker, Johnny Walker one.
Right.
And that was like
Generally, everybody despises it.
everybody despises the Johnny Walker, White Walker. Well, I mean, it is a blend. So, and that one came out a lot sooner than the other ones. It kind of jumped
Yeah.
on the bandwagon a lot earlier, and I don't know why. And was it affiliated? Did they have to plaster HBO all over the thing?
I don't know. I just know that I'm pretty sure that Johnny Walker is Diageo, though.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's, you couldn't imagine it being multiple, like outside of Diageo and another major company also using, you would think it would be exclusive to HBO.
Yeah.
And the HBO thing both kind of tripped us both out, where we're like, saw it on the back of the cylinder along with Diageo, and it's like very corporate. And that kind of,
Yeah.
it spoils something.
It cheapens it.
It spoils
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
not like it. Yeah, it just suddenly felt less Scottish and less single malty.
We knew it was a gimmick, though. That's what I was trying to say at the
Yeah,
very start.
that's
Like,
right.
It's
You're
a
buying
gimmick,
into
but
the
we're
gimmick.
buying it because it's Lagavulin, and that's pretty much the only reason.
and it hasn't disappointed.
And it's still really good.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like the football teams over in England when they started plastering all their jerseys with Sharp or
Yeah.
and you kind
Exactly.
of you're like, it just seems like a sellout.
Yeah.
It's
true.
And we'd buy those things too, which is crazy because we'd get the jerseys with the brand name, the
advertisement,
big
I know.
brand name on it.
It's
Like,
a double shot
yeah.
for the advertisement.
It's a good move on their part, but it's still at the same time it cheapens the whole thing.
I agree.
I guess the NHL doesn't do that, do they?
No.
Not yet.
No. NBA just started this year.
Did they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You were getting to your point about comparison scotch. You said there was only one.
There's only one, Gordy.
Okay,
And it's-
Jonathan.
That's a what?
Well, it's a strong play.
Well, it is a strong play. I think you know what it is. I don't think I'm going to even get a fight out of you. We're going to have to do that. I'm going to have to play that sword sound. Shing.
Okay, we'll lay it
Okay.
down.
It's got to be the Lagavulin 16. And I'll tell you why. It's a great tasting whiskey. So good that it may be my all-time favorite.
Right.
This one being
This whiskey, the 9.
the 9, oddly enough, is really wowing me with its flavor tonight. Like there's very little flaws going on
Yes.
in that flavor.
Right.
And I want to know how it tastes up to 16.
Okay.
I'm excited too. I'm sure there's going to be quite a big difference, but at the same time, anyway. And then the other thing is, the other reason why it has to be is because the Lagavulin 16 is cheaper.
Right.
Show me why you're charging me more money for something that's not aged, it's 7 years short.
Yes. Yes.
If you're going to throw the number up there, give me one good reason. If nothing else, that should put it in its place.
So, are you trying to say then that the Lagavulin 9 could be on par with the Lagavulin 16?
Not really.
Okay.
Not in its very essence. I'm saying that this Scotch, the 9-year-old Lagavulin, tastes really good to me.
Yes.
And I'm like, the only reason I want to taste the 16 is because I know that's a really good Scotch. It's in the same family. It's less money. It's almost like more like just to prove the 16 is, even for its price. If they're going to I don't know. I don't know what it is, man. It's the fact that the 16 has got to go up against this. That's it. That's the whole argument.
Okay.
I don't know. Okay, do you got
There's-
one? You can convince me.
No. Not really. I thought a little bit about the Kalila 12, and I thought a little bit about the Kilhoman Makir Bay. But I think you're right. Ardbeg maybe a bit, Ardbeg 10, just for a smoke show, which would be fun. And I guess, yeah, if you're talking about that, you can maybe throw the Talisker Storm in there too. But I don't think there's a better choice than the Lagavulin 16. I think that the Lagavulin 16 and this will be a great comparison. I think we're going to enjoy every sip of both, and which is why not then? It's a little luxurious and a little, spoil one another a bit. But, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, Nothing wrong with that. If we had the Lagavulin 8, it's possible that I'd be pushing harder for that because they're only 1 year apart, and they're such a natural comparison that
I would agree.
that might be a one notch above. But we don't have the 8. We drank it. So and we
and
do have
that's
some
fine.
more coming, but right now we don't have it. So we have the 16, and we need to probably try the 16.
And I think what I'm hoping for is the 16 might reveal some of the flaws in this Scotch.
Yes.
And I don't want to hate a Lagavulin, but at the same time, it's like you went out and they kind of sold themselves out there a little bit. I guess not really. It's still a great marketing. I don't think of them less.
They
But
jumped in.
They jumped in, but they had no
But
choice.
they're part of a corporation.
The corporation told them what they got to do.
And the Power Malt series or whatever, the Classic Malt series. I mean, Lagavulin's used to this sort of stuff, right? They like being showcased. They're down with that.
Comparison. Scotch.
You ready for some 16?
I'm ready for some 16. Why don't we do this?
Okay.
Just a very minute bit would be fantastic.
Okay,
This is true. This is a real battle.
the Wee Dram glass has the 9. The clear glass has the 16.
All right.
Lagavulin 16. Always a pleasure. Smoke's a little more dank. It's not as it's a different smoke.
It is.
The flavor's darker and heavier than the 9. They tie together on the vanilla note in the middle. Did you sip it?
No.
Oh. Yeah? Well,
All right, sure.
you're done. Dankier smoke, man.
Yeah.
Smoky, but dankier smoke. A little saltier, hung up. The smoke is pushing into the fog almost. Seaweed.
Just
Kelp.
a really nice sea
Kelpie.
smell. I'm going into a cabin that's been, made of wood that's by the ocean and that just kept, gets that spray. Like a good portion of the year. It's
The
embedded
shells
into
are
the
white.
wood.
The
Yeah.
stones are blue. And the wood is like almost white. It's like
It's got all that salt
pale.
dried out in it.
What's that buff color there?
Buff color.
Buff. Like it's like it's not white. It's
I'm
sort
thinking
of,
muscular.
no, not like that. Like kind of the same as a, where you have a beige. It's beigey. The wood is beige. It's so almost sun dried and beat from the weather.
Yeah.
On the high part of the beach above the
Right.
tide line a
Almost
bit.
starting to look like driftwood.
Yeah, it is driftwood.
Yeah.
But it's like it's
the
like
really smooth
whitey
stuff.
gray
Not
beige.
on a cabin.
Yeah. Yeah,
Just sitting on the beach.
alongside the cabin.
Okay, right.
The
Sorry.
blue rocks, the white shells, and the beigey, gray, white woods that are like way up on the
That
tide
kind
line.
of deep.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. There you are.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's taste it.
Lagavulin 9.
16.
We are on. This is the best whiskey of all time, isn't it?
Well, it's up there, right? I think most people that really like Scotch are going to have this in their top 3.
All right, let's do it.
It's a really good package. It's like the other one, though.
It's, this is the strangest thing, and this is the only time you're ever going to probably hear this out of my mouth, but this is why you can make a case for 8 or 43% alcohol by volume. Because it's like they're taming the other one. It's like everything's exactly there, but it happens in a much, like everything unveils itself in its own time perfectly. It does all that crazy stuff that the 9 does, but it doesn't do it in a crazy way. It does it in a really orderly, like kind of like just one thing rolls into another and another, and then you're on the finish in the same way, but you got there in a whole different way. It's very, very, very like controlled, you know? I think maybe 43% alcohol by volume works in the Lagavulin 16's favor for some reason. You know, it's really interesting. I never really thought I would.
Really powerful, but really well contained.
Yeah, controlled power.
Yeah.
Whereas the Lagavulin 9 just unleashes on you. It's like, whoo, shoo, ba, 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 boom, boom, and you know, and then all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I know I like that, but I'm still kind of trying to piece that together. Whereas the 16 brings you along all the way with you. You know.
So it would be interesting to think of what the 8 might taste like.
Yes, it would be. Maybe even a little more unbridled, you know?
Even
Delicious
more,
and powerful.
more than-
And
You think that the coloring actually tones it down, assuming that the 8 is not colored?
I don't think so. But I don't know. I just don't get that gut feeling.
Mm.
You know? That's
Mhm.
really all I have right now.
The balance is so good on that it would be, you know, it would be a safe bet to say that would be all I need to drink if I was just going to pick
Yep.
one.
Yep. Let's try the 9.
Because it's...
Let's go back to the sweaty 9. Look at how it's sweaty. Little condensation bubbles are. Do you have that in your glass yet?
I think so.
Little
Like bubbles
sweat.
all over
Yeah,
the
like
place?
kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
They say that comes from unchilled filtered. Now I might have that wrong, but it's
That's
interesting.
the impurity thing that we were talking about?
Yeah. So maybe is there's no way Lagavulin 16 is chill filtered, is it?
Don't think so.
Interesting. Ready for some
Why is
9?
that interesting? Yeah, okay, let's do it.
Yeah. It just rips. It's ripping. Oh man. It's untamed. Don't you think?
Yeah, it is untamed, but I enjoy it. And it's untamed like the Lannisters.
Ah, undisciplined a little bit. Lacking morals.
Maybe we're like, oh, they did that. Maybe that pick is actually really genius because of that fact alone.
Ah.
I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not the Lagavulin 16.
Right.
Like if you're going to pick it apart. If you're going to really get granular on your analytics or when you analyze it.
Well, that's good to do. I mean, it whatever ties you need to make between the 9 and the Lannisters and whatever is purely driven by the narrative. So you have to accept that you're just creating these things, or you're constructing them. You know, they're constructs, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. They're just a way of us navigating what we're trying to taste and, understand from the whiskey itself. So it drives it back toward like the HBO story coming together nicely and people sitting in think tanks and just trying to come up with these answers, leading us back to the question of why Lannister and Lagavulin. And you're trying to answer that by saying, maybe exactly that. The 9 is unbridled, and it's a good choice because it provides the power and the roar, hear me roar, that's right on that cylinder. And it sort of ties all that together and brings it, to a point, I suppose, huh?
Said, yeah,
Yeah.
with many more words. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of words. Sorry, bud.
No. There's no fault. I liked it. But yeah.
What are you drinking now? The 9?
No, I'm going, it must be the 9. 9 has the logo
9's
on
the
it,
logo,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I really don't.
No.
I like its fierceness.
Yes, very fierce.
But it's, I guess if you only had to have one, it'd be nice if the edge was cut off a little bit. Yeah, the Lagavulin 16, it shows that if you're going to pay less for that and it's going to be the same thing but all smoothed out, like a craftsman worked on it, You know, and he smoothed out all the rough edges and just made this beautiful piece of smooth carved wood. Not that it tastes solely like wood, but
No.
you know, I mean,
No,
so
no.
like there was some work put into that
Yes.
to make it taste like it does. Whereas the other one is sort of like the apprentice woodworker.
Yeah, the raw.
He's little.
The
He's
raw
got some good
resources
ideas.
that were brought all together, and you can see the potential in it.
Yeah.
It's like dragging a cedar in from the forest and being like, "Oh my goodness! Like we can do so much with that."
Yeah.
But it's just sitting there, just heaving, and just like, "Oh my goodness!" You know, like, yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you that the 16 is superior. I mean, if they were both exactly the same price, it would be a whole different discussion.
Really?
But I do think so. A
If
whole
they were the
different
same
discussion. Hold
price.
on, a whole different discussion
They
in the sense
kinda
that
are,
we'd be
though.
saying it's 46%. It's
Oh, you mean like on every aspect of
Yeah,
every
yeah.
character? Well, yeah,
And
but we
it were the
know,
same
but
price.
but we can't really compare them like that.
No.
That's not super fair.
I'm not
You
saying
gotta
that you have to level it
just,
that way.
Just taste it for what it is. Like
Uh-huh.
even if they were the same price, and you'd still probably go with the Lagavulin.
a 16.
Sorry, yeah, right. They're both Lagavulins. Exactly. The
Yes.
16. You'd go with the 16.
Probably, yeah.
See, that's kind of like my Kleenex name for scotches. This is Lagavulin. That is Scotch.
That's the Scotch. No, I think in a blind taste test without any knowledge of price or years or anything, that you'd probably settle on the 16.
Yeah, it's a better drink. Like it's a drink that you're going to want to taste more consistently. You'd always go back to that one if it was available. I mean, if the 9 were cheaper, like the 8 is, you know, if it was a little more expensive than the 8, I don't know. You know, I could see getting that more often, a lot more often.
Wasn't that the point we were just talking about?
Yes, but it's not. I guess that's the whole thing, right?
You
It's
just
so
totally
much more.
shut me down on it. You said,
Really?
that's unfair. You can't talk about that. And then you just
Did
made
I?
that same point. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't. I'm sorry. Maybe I didn't see where you were going.
That's okay. But that was where I was going.
That was the point.
Yeah. Was that...
Oh,
If-
but that was in a different argument, though. Wasn't that us talking about if they were the same price?
well, that's what I let off with. Yeah.
Yeah, but if we go to immediately, yeah, and then we did end up there, didn't
Yeah,
we?
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm sorry
Yeah.
about that.
Well, we did diverge. I mean, the divergent point is still pretty good, where we're like, you know, overall, I still enjoy drinking the 16 more than the 9. And if I were to do it without any knowledge, I still think it's a bit better. And yet it's cheaper. You know,
Right.
and more accessible. You
Just
can't even
proves
buy the
it's
9.
5 status.
Yeah, the 9 we got lucky to find a bottle. So that's another thing. You know, for some reason it's completely difficult to get.
Do you think they'll put it out again? Did we already talk about this?
It sounds like it's a limited release.
Well, I really have to. Well, we will, and we'll taste it up against the 8, and that would be like the most interesting thing to me.
Yeah, looking forward to that.
If you had to say right off the bat, what do you think? Which one do you think would? You know, obviously, me and my wins. But you got to win. One's got to win. If you're gonna like one better than the other,
Probably the 9.
even if this was slightly
Probably the
priced
9.
over the 8.
Yeah, right
would
now,
say the 9,
just
yeah.
just tasting out, I would say the 9.
Me too.
I certainly had a more pleasurable experience upon opening than the 8. The 8 was hard for me originally, but I still attribute that to my mother's meat sauce.
All right.
I have to be honest.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, that might have influenced me a
Didn't
little
bring
bit
any
that
crackers
night.
down tonight, huh?
No crackers tonight.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one compares up well. If we're doing it to the 16, it only compares up well in the sense that it just shows you the flaws of the other one
Yeah, a little bit.
a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's still, yeah. Why they're charging more is basically marketing.
Gimmicks.
Yeah, they're not going to sell. And you know what? I guess they can justify that in the sense that look,
Limited edition.
we're giving you another one. You guys, we know you all love it.
Yeah.
Here's a 9. Yeah, it's not that much different than the 8, and it's expensive, but it's one of a kind. You guys, those who know Lagavulin is really good, and they're probably going to want to try anything they put out if
Yeah.
it's in that price range that you can pay for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one is just
it's
on the cusp.
exclusive and expensive, and people like that.
Yeah.
That's how people are. They like that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
regardless of the whole Game of Thrones thing, it's still really good.
It's
So,
not a bad whiskey.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, are we moving toward the next portion of the evening?
I think we should.
Yes, I believe we should.
Quote of the night.
The two were united under a Glasgow trader, and in 1887 Peter Mackay arrived at the distillery, under whose guiding hand the distillery and the name Lagavulin was to become the last word in Isla Malt. Malts.com. Under the classic malts page.
Okay, so what do you think? Is that just junk?
It's the seminal Isla whiskey?
Yeah, but it's also the fact that this Peter Mackey guy arrived, and I thought that was kind of
In what year?
significant. Maybe Peter Mackey was in 1887.
And he said,
I'm assuming he's the guy who guided them to give us the Lagavulin flavor.
he was the one
that was when it started to become a big deal.
Right.
And Lagavulin was forever known as like one of the best. Because of
beginning.
his guidance.
Yes. He started it all. This guy, Peter
Mackey.
Right. Well, there you go.
That's about it. We don't have to,
It takes a genius to get a legacy started, or just somebody who knew what to do at that time, or he might have got lucky. Maybe all the waters and barleys and kelps and salts and various things in the terroir all were just ready to go at that moment.
It was the best place to build.
Yeah. Maybe they just got the right.
But they were there the whole time. So they are
the
sort of like,
question is,
weren't they around? What does the box say? They were like 1812? No, wait,
yes.
1814?
No, it's,
no, because they put out their 200.
It's over 200 now. Yeah.
1816.
Yeah,
probably
so,
right.
Early 19th century whiskey.
Yeah, so almost what is that? That's like 80, 70 years later. This Peter Mackey shows up. All of a sudden, Lagavulin starts getting known for its whiskey at a fairly high level.
Right. So he brings it all together?
Maybe.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe he's the guy we
attribute our
the
enjoyment
greatness
of
to.
Lagavulin to.
Yeah.
Well, possibly. I mean, it had to start somewhere. On the one hand, the geography component plays a major role in terms of the terroir, and on the other hand, it takes the human ingenuity portion where a person like Peter is able to manipulate the terroir to create something as impactful as Lagavulin whiskey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what his tweaks would have been, because I imagine they were getting the same water source.
They had Twitter?
Tweaks.
Oh.
Like tweaking a
Right,
system.
right, yeah.
Just like, what did he do slightly different? No, he didn't.
Yeah, no, exactly. So what did he do differently from the
Yeah,
person
because they would have
before
had
him?
a few things I would imagine would probably be fairly consistent.
Yeah.
Or at least they were doing up till that time that maybe they had little or no control over.
Well, yeah, you
I'm
always
sure they were.
wonder if it comes down to like the copper still
Yeah.
size and shape, where they ordered it from, how they do the mash tun, how much smoke came from the peat fires, and what intensity this was done at, and what rhythm this was done at, and how early they did this and how late. So yeah, your tweaks I think would have been pretty numerous, to create or to move something from something to become something new,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he might have had a heck of a lot to do with the way it tastes now. So maybe
Yeah.
he is the guy. It'd be interesting to follow his career. To see, was he somewhere else? Did he spend any time? Although
On the
Talisker's a
mainland?
lot.
Yeah, up in Skye, and then maybe made his way over through.
Did he
also-
help any other distilleries out? Maybe
he's an
like
Isla-born guy.
that director that you follow. You keep watching.
Right.
And so he's the guy you're like, oh, he touched down in, these couple distilleries. I should check him out.
They might be over there happening.
That
Yes.
one works. That was
The
going to be
quote
it.
was solid. Yeah.
Well, it wasn't even really a quote, but
No,
you
but
know.
it gave us some ideas. Gave us
Sure.
something to think about.
Yeah.
What's happening next week? Do you know?
Well, next week we kind of jumped the schedule.
We're
on
going
this one,
back
right?
to
We're
Tomatin
going back
12?
to Tomatin.
So we're
yeah.
just going to continually announce Tomatin 12 at the end of every episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it just keeps getting bumped.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. Well,
Actually, we're doing Talisker Distillery Edition next week, not Tomatin 12.
we'll go. Yeah. I don't think anybody would have missed the Tomatin 12 anyway.
No. Nobody was like, oh my God, they didn't do it. That was
Shoot,
like,
so disappointed. But
I'm not going to listen to them anymore.
Gonna still. Ouch.
Yeah.
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 But okay, so that's it. That's
Right.
That's a good wrap.
Yeah, and keep your heads up for the glasses giveaway.
Yeah, we'll have a Yes.
some notes and quotes on that
We're
you
gonna
probably would have seen last week in our short. But if get involved, send us some feedback. If you at a certain point in the show make a note and just be like, oh, this is what I think between that or these guys. Honestly, we love all that stuff. So whether
Actually, really love to hear
Anything.
people's favorite Game of Thrones scotch.
Oh,
if,
that too.
If anybody's tasted them all, love to hear the comments
Yeah.
on that. Like, which one did you like the best?
yeah, and why, and
Yeah.
which ones should we maybe try to find? Not that they're going to be easy to find, but
Probably
at least we
done.
might get into the distillery, enjoy some of the other expressions or whatever.
Well,
But
it'd just
yeah.
be nice to know which distillery is actually
Yeah.
putting out.
How successful were
Yeah.
they with this whole gimmick scheme?
Yeah.
Comments. Signing off.
Signing off. Wee Dram. Here's where's your glass. Let's get one more. The distillery and the name Lagavulin
Lagavulin.
was to become the last word in Isla Malt. Gee.
Here, let me see.
Yeah, you should probably read that.